In this video, we are going to look at the March garden transformation from dormant to alive into the magic of just spring's arrival. We looked at a little bit of what a difference a month makes in the front gardens, and it's so funny. I was walking around these outer beds and realized, oh my goodness, there's a full transformation of spring right here in this one space, and I just want to show it to you. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. Hello and welcome to the Bowtie Gardens. We are blessed with the presence of a woodpecker just right there. And off to your left, we have Mrs. Bowtie coming out of dormancy for the spring, catching up with some sun rays. Say hello, Mrs. Bowtie.
Hello.
And there she is. And that's probably all she's going to give me because she's ready to go in. She's been out here in this warm, beautiful Florida sun. We are in Destin, of course, and not very far from the beach, though. The weather is just amazing. We've had 75-degree weather. What do you think, Mrs. Bowtie?
I think it's gorgeous. I think spring has arrived.
Spring has definitely arrived. The bees are out. The birds are out. That woodpecker was very cool to see. He's still up there. And he's just kind of sitting up there picking the bugs out of the tree trunk up there. This is the first time I've seen one on that trunk, which I'm very excited about because that's one of the reasons why I've left that trunk, because I would like birds like that to find food there. Anyway, we are in March of 2025, and it is just that time of the year that the magic happens. We go from dead beds, dead plants, to things starting to bloom, things starting to thrive, and just everything's coming out of dormancy. We're getting ready for new beds. We're getting ready to plant new stuff, people. And walking around the outer beds here, it is a step-by-step look through that process. I just think that's extremely cool. So we are here in the heart of Old Destin, Florida. We have a property that's 100 foot wide and 106 foot deep. So it's not a very big property because it also includes our house. But we've converted a lot of it to beds to grow food in, to grow flowers in, to grow all kinds of stuff that we just like to have around us, and all the beauty of nature that we're used to seeing. Now we are going to have this map of the backyard as we're going around, and we'll put this down in the corner that shows kind of the back view and where the outer beds are, and that's going to be down here in the corner. And we're going to have this icon here with the red circle and the blue arrow. The red circle represents where the camera is, the blue arrow represents the direction it's pointing, and that's going to be down on the map in the lower right hand corner. So you can kind of get an idea of where we are. If you are standing where that red circle is, it would be obvious which direction the camera is pointing. There's not that much out here, people. I just like going through every detail here. This is my own incremental journal of what's going on in the garden. I go back and look at these videos often. I'll be in front of the seed stand at Lowe's, and I'll be wondering, did I grow that before? And I can look back through these videos and I can see, well, yes or no, I have or have not grown those things before, and I'll go get some new seeds. Haven't bought a lot of seeds this year, of course. How much have we spent on seeds this year, Mrs. Bowtie?
I don't know, 100 bucks?
Oh, not even. I don't think we spent 20 bucks.
Oh. Well, good for you.
Yeah, I know, right? This is a new year. So yeah, I'm using up a lot of old seed, and we'll talk about that in other videos. But we're looking forward to having new things growing. But all that being said, let's just get right on with this. And the first thing we're going to talk about is awakening from the winter's slumber and looking at the concept of dormancy. So of course, dormancy is what happens to perennial plants as they enter into the cold season. Now, a perennial plant is one that lives more than a single growing season. Tomatoes, for example, are not perennial, they're annual, and they will die at the first cold or the first frost, and they will only live so long. But this is actually a blackberry plant, and it is perennial. It lives year after year. These canes actually last a couple of years. These canes will grow green the first year, and then they will, over the winter, they will turn this purple color, and throughout this year they will start becoming woody, which means they look like wood. If you look over here to the left, you can actually see there is some green cane right there, and that same exact cane is in the process of turning purple. on this, of course, is the little swelling buds. And if you saw last month's garden tour, you know that these buds, they're starting to get bigger. That's a sign that spring is about to spring. And you can see, like this bud right here, you can see a little bit of green coming out right there at the end of it. And then they start getting bigger leaves and they start getting more developed. And these things will start putting out blooms for blackberries. And that's the life cycle of these blackberries waking up and coming to life for the new year. Now, this is not all the blackberries we have. We have kind of a sparse selection through here, but these blackberries are truly coming to life. If I come over here, the end of this blackberry vine right here is just really brimming with life that is just coming out and getting ready for spring. Now, we don't have a lot under here because we are underneath our pomegranates. Now, the pomegranates, same process. They're a little bit earlier, though. You'll notice, in fact, if you noticed last month, let me see if I can put a picture of last month's garden tour of this area. It didn't have hardly any leaves, just a few little tiny ones. Month before that, there was nothing here. Back in, this is March, that would have been January. But look at these now. The leaves are coming out. They're kind of protected here between the house and the arbor, and they are just getting ready to explode with life. They're going to make pomegranates. In fact, I just noticed, just as I was getting ready, there's an old pomegranate sitting up there in that tree that needs to get taken down. I have a fruit puller that I'll use to pull that thing down. But yeah, these things are just getting ready to explode and be beautiful. Oh yes, these pomegranates are going to be awesome. Now for me, it's very hard to do a garden tour and not see a lot of weeds. Now this here is wood sorrel. We're going to see what the flowers to this wood sorrel looks like here in just a little bit. It's actually beautiful, though it is a bit invasive. And so we have to control some of these weeds so they don't choke out the things that we want. Just kind of keeping things in the control. It's our part in cultivating the earth. Here just to the right of that wood sorrel we are looking at our goji berry bush. And this is another one that's kind of hidden underneath these pomegranate trees. It doesn't grow very well. I have not really kept this one, but you'll notice in the raised garden bed tour, and subscribe so you don't miss the raised garden bed tour, right at the end of it we talk about the big goji berry bush, and I have trimmed that and I'm ready for that thing to start producing. But goji berry, it kind of looks like a small cayenne pepper. It is not spicy at all. It's more like a tomato as far as taste, and it is known as the Asian fountain of youth. There is not any scientific evidence that I know of that proves that, but they are just completely interchangeable with tomatoes, and I use them whenever I can harvest them. So past the blackberry arbor, we come up to the backside of our blueberry patch. And we actually cover this blueberry patch at the end of the front and side garden tour and also the beginning of the raised garden bed tour. And this is the next phase. We looked at those blackberries and we saw the little buds swelling. Well, obviously here, those buds have started to come out in force, in mass. And you can see various places. If I pan down right here, you can see this branch. There are little buds blooming right there in front of us, getting ready to make fruit, getting ready to make blueberries. Oh yes. Now this patch of blueberries, it's about 20 foot across on the back and it's about 18 foot deep. It's a triangle shape, and it will make us about 30 pounds of blueberries in a season. We have two different kinds of blueberries in here. You need different kinds so they can pollinate. And of course, pollinate is one of the next big points. We look up in here and we can just see bee activity everywhere in here. They just love these little blooms. They're crawling all over them, getting out nectar and getting out pollen and pollinating the other flowers. It's just amazing. I'm counting a couple dozen bees right now. Let me see if I can get close up to this one right here. Oop, there he goes. You can't help but see the bees in here. They are just amazing all over the place. See that one right there? That is just too cool. So as these flowers wake up, so the bees are starting to stop using their reserves of honey, because you know what? Most of the time by now, their reserves are running out. And so they are out here looking for new flowers, and these new flowers will give them new birth, new hatchlings, new bees, and develop even more honey for the next year, which they develop a lot more honey than they need. And that's where we get our honey from, is that excess. Now these buds come out in a number of things, not just blueberries. They're just starting to pop out, and you can see the leaves are just starting to pop out. Those pomegranates are a little bit ahead in the leaf department, but they don't have any blooms yet, which just is very exciting to me, because that tells me we might be getting a decent crop. I was a little worried because I did dig out a lot of old dead branches in here, so I did a bit of damage to its production. I might have slowed it in some area, though it's still going to give us a lot of blueberries over the next few months. So it always fascinates me how different plants develop so differently. Right here we have a wood sorrel. You can see this almost clover-like leaf right here. And this is wood sorrel that I was talking about earlier. It's a bit invasive. There we go. There you can see the leaf. And it grows a lot in our yard. I've allowed it to grow some. And then right next to it, and you can see the buds, the little flowers on the wood sorrel already. This is Biden's alba. This is the plant that I love having around for the bees, because later on in the year, these things make just dozens and dozens of little white and yellow flowers that are just so beautiful, and the bees buzz all over and absolutely love them. So all the weeds in here are just part of the whole cycle of life that we just cherish here in our garden. Now I have a few vines that grow a lot, and this actually is listed as some kind of sawtooth blackberry, and it's got thorns on it that are just vicious, little tiny things that break off in your skin. Oh my goodness. But again, look at the flowers. This thing is just prolifically producing for the bees, and it's making the bees very, very happy. And because of that variation of when the flowers come out, that's what keeps our bees over here alive. There's a bunch of them back there. In fact, they're right behind this camera on this last blueberry. Boy, I got to keep those straight, don't I? But they are just getting the flowers as they open, and they'll be, right now they're getting the blueberries and the wood sorrel. Here pretty soon they'll be getting the Biden's alba and other things. And just that whole cycle of life, it fascinates me to watch and see the development as it goes through. Now the bee box over here, let's get a closer look at the bees flying in and out of here, because they are collecting that pollen. You can see on their hind legs as they land in here, they have either the white or the yellow, depending on what they're collecting right now. And that is them bringing supplies back to the hive so they can create food for new bees, new drones that can go out and collect the more pollen, or maybe even new queens, new males. The ones that come out are generally the female bees, and they will be the ones that do all the work in the bee world. Now I will note here, a few minutes ago I was wearing a bright red hat for the intro to this. I had to shed that because I'm over here this close to the bees, and yeah, they're flying all around me. I'm staying calm. That's very hard for me, but I am staying calm. This is just too exciting for me to be scared at the moment, but they are just getting busy doing their thing. Now also back here in the little meadow area surrounding the bee box, the bee box is just right there. We have several comfrey plants. Now this grows a lot of green. This makes phenomenal green manure. The roots to this go deep. It draws up a lot of nutrients and stores them in their big leaves, and these are great for compost. You can literally come in and whack this thing off at the ground, and within a week it will have grown again. It'll grow a lot more leaves. But I love the comfrey. I use it for various things. I like the green. They also make these beautiful little purple flowers eventually. And we have another comfrey plant over there, and there's another one way back in the back there, right next to the back fence. But you can see this is just a little meadow area that I've maintained. A lot of that, like all that in there, is Biden's alba. I may have to start thinning out the Biden's alba some. They grew pretty prolifically this year. just over here on the cathedral oak, which I'm afraid is going to get renamed. We have another one. I believe this is the Chinese Ground Orchid, like the ones I have planted in the front yard. And I've just kind of discovered these sitting out here. I was probably going to plant them in the meadow area or somewhere out here. They need to get taken care of. So you can see they are just growing, ready to go. They'll be starting to make their flowers pretty soon. Just above that, of course, is the first of our fig trees back here. This is the one that I'm allowing to grow bigger. Now, this thing is blooming, is creating flowers. And let me show you, we have to kind of zoom in here a little bit. I'm gonna get closer, and if you look right here, you can see that little bulbous thing right there. You know what that is? That is a fig. And I'm very excited at the thought that we could possibly get figs this year. I'm gonna come around here. I think the bees are getting tired of me being in their space, but I'm going to give it a little more attempt here to see if I can show you this bigger one. Now, a fig is not a fruit. The fig is actually a flower. Look at that right there. That is a flower. And it's an inverted flower. The stuff is on the inside of the fig. And these are a closed up flower. We eat the flowers on figs. We eat them, we dry them, and this thing is going to be making figs this year. I can actually see several up top there and throughout the tree. So I'm very excited that we are going to have at least some figs from our fig trees. If I come over here to the second one, which is the one I've been pruning and getting just right, just the way I want it, I do not see any figs on it quite yet, but there will be some in here soon. I don't see any right now. They will be coming out though. We'll have to see what happens here. So there we see more blooms are coming out, those figs. Now there is a specific insect, the fig wasp, that feeds on those and pollinates the figs. We don't have any fig wasps in our area as far as I know. So we're not going to see these things pollinated. They will not produce seed where we can plant this thing from seed, at least not by nature in our area. Fig wasp is a tiny, tiny insect that actually flies into the opening at the end of the fig. But we come over here to the loquats. Now, in the last video, we actually chopped this thing off somewhere. In fact, let's see if we can see. You can barely see right up in here. That's where we cut it. Right there. That was the cut point. And if I just show a little video of what this looked like when we cut it, it looks totally different now. It is all coming out everywhere. It is starting to show growth. I am just anxiously awaiting when this thing is going to start showing any blooms. If I look down in here, there is an interesting little different colored stem right there. Little appendage right there, and I'm hoping beyond hope that that right there is going to be the fruit, where the fruit's going to come out at. Boy, that would be very exciting. And again, we got the bees all over here just pollinating everything. This is our loquat hedge, of course. We have 5 trees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. We even have a spare tree over here. If one of them begins to fail, we will be able to swap it out with a double trunked loquat tree here. Very excited about that. And that, of course, brings us over to our lemon tree, which we trimmed. And I'm still learning about lemon trees, people. And I noticed that this thing had gone through the snow. And you can see here, it's a little bit brown right there. And if you look down, there's another patch of brown. And if I look down, oh no, this thing is really developing a lot of brown. However, if you look right here, there is a new branch getting ready to appear and become something new for this lemon tree. So I'm hopeful that this is going to stop dying right there. This branch will take off. There's another one actually right there, just not even the size of a BB, that's hopefully will be coming out. Let me see if I can zoom in on that just a little closer so you can see what this is looking like. Oh my goodness, I can't get my hand behind. There we go. Very exciting. One on the right, which is pretty good size, and that little tiny point on the left, which may also become a branch. Of course, right next to that lemon tree, I do have another backup in a pot here that I really haven't paid much attention to. So we're starting to transition now, looking at all these leaves coming out, all the blooms. It's interesting, some of the things start showing blooms before they show leaves, and some of the things start showing leaves before. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Do you know what I see right here? That is a lemon bloom, people. That is a Meyer lemon bloom. 3 of them getting ready to come out on this little tree. How exciting is that? Oh, wow. Yay. That is so cool to see. Maybe this tree is going to be the one to be our producer. So with the arrival of all this green, not only does it just show how abundant nature can be for us, it also tells us, okay, there's a time to do something else, and that's pulling weeds. Now there's a few ways you can take care of things like weeds. Number one, you can sit there and pull every one of them, and we're going to be covering another method here pretty soon in the outer garden bed tour as far as how to get rid of a lot of weeds really fast. I'm an ADD gardener. My attention span has a challenge, and sometimes I just need to cheat a little bit. I say cheat kind of tongue-in-cheek, facetiously, but there's so many different ways to garden that you can find a way that's comfortable for you to garden. It's a way that matches your brain, that keeps your interest, that makes you excited for the new year. Now, one way right here is this black sheet plastic, and we had an interesting debate over on a short that Des over at Gardening with Des did not too long ago. It didn't go, I mean, it was just a question wondering how far do we go. Now, I see Des on a few other shows, so I've discussed with her from time to time, but she put out a post, never use this kind of thing in your garden. And this is a form of sheet mulch. Now, in the raised garden bed tour, and actually in a few minutes, we're going to see a couple other better ways to sheet mulch. But basically, it's a sheet of something put down, and it keeps the weeds back. Now, folks, I don't want to go any further without giving a big warning, and I totally agree with Des on this. When you go down to your big box store and you see that roll of stuff that they have, it is cheap. It may or may not be UV stable. It will decay and it will put a lot more microplastics in the environment than you're going to want to put into your garden. I personally try to reduce, reuse, recycle as much as I can, and when it comes to stuff like this, I am very specific on what I do. Now, this here is the DeWitt Sunbelt ground fabric. I'll see if I can put an image up here of it from Amazon. It is not cheap. It's not the cheap stuff you're going to get from Lowe's, but this stuff will last a long time. This is going to be its 3rd year down here, and frankly, it looks almost as good as the day I put it down the first time from the original roll. I like to buy it in the 6-foot wide sheet. It's 300 foot long, $120 to $150 for a 300-foot roll. And I have one roll that I've been using for 2 years now, and I'm not quite halfway through it. So there's a lot in there that you can use. Now, the reason why I use this, number one, it is UV stable. It's not going to break down in the sun. That stuff that looks like compressed fabric that you get at Lowe's that, you know, sort of lets the sunlight through it, that stuff will break down in one season. It won't even last a whole year in most cases. I've seen it break down here in Florida in one season, easy, just from the sunlight. Some of those rolls of fabric, they're not as heavy as this. This is a little bit heavier and just a better quality. And so, yes, I'm defending this a little bit because if you go out and get a quality product, you can do a lot better for your environment. And I believe very strongly in doing as good as we can. We are commissioned in Genesis when God sent Adam and Eve out of the garden, they were to take care of the earth. And I think that continues on today, that as a Christian, we should be taking care of the earth and doing anything that we can to continue that work. So I'm showing this method first because of the things that I do. I will admit this is probably one of the not great things that I do. And yes, I can admit this is not a great way to do this. Again, it has to do with the quality of the product. This will last for years, but as I pull this back, you can see underneath here, there is a whole lot less work waiting for me. In fact, those little mounds that you see there, that's where my watermelon are going to grow. I will be coming through here, supplementing it with a little bit of compost that you're going to be seeing at the end of this video, and we will be amending those little mounds and planting watermelon for this year in those little mounds. There should be 11 of them in here somewhere, but this will be our watermelon patch again this year. Now, yes, I am planting this in the exact same places I did last year and the year before. If I didn't touch the soil at all in here, if I just left this thing as it was, rotation would become important. But with as much compost and with as much natural nutrients that I put back in here, the whole rotation of crops thing becomes a little less important, and we can just put this stuff in the same place because I will be completely replenishing this earth. In fact, you can look right over my right shoulder here. There's another Comfrey plant over there that I use in the compost for green compost. So I did, of course, save all my landscaping staples, and that syringe, I have no idea where that came from. It was underneath the fabric. It must have unearthed itself somehow. It's not a syringe that either Bowtie nor I have ever used. Now, I will point out over here, there are some weeds, like I believe this is a dandelion, that I will pull up and I reach all the way down at the base. And when they're young like this, the roots are not very big. You can see there, it was trying to develop a taproot right there, but it hadn't done it yet. So I'm catching this early enough. And over here in this garden, that's excellent. There's a Biden's alba, I'm pretty sure, that would have grown up. And look here, here is last year's watermelon plant. And I'm just breaking it off, leaving, well, a lot of the root ball was left in there. There's a little bit of it came up. Just add that to the pile that we're going to put into a bin. Now, folks, I am not a person who keeps a beautiful monocrop lawn. In fact, a monocrop lawn is not a recommended thing. People worry about having trouble with bugs. If you have a monocrop lawn or you have no diversity in your garden, you run the risk of creating those insect problems yourself. But that's why I love keeping all the diversity in here. Like, here's a dandelion, and yes, I will come in here and pull them. And yes, there's dollarweed down here, and I will pull it, and I will make an effort to keep some stuff thinned out, but I never eradicate anything in here. I saw someone ask, what's the best way to do organic insect control? Well, folks, the best organic insect control is this right here, this diversity. You know, the human biome, the key to a good, strong human biome is diversity, is to have all kinds of organic stuff in your system, bacteria and fungus and viruses and so forth. You know, those viruses like the cold, you always have it. The reason why you're showing symptoms is because there's an imbalance of it. That's literally what it is. It's not really catching it. You've just got an imbalance of whatever that is. And so as long as you keep that diversity, you're not going to have the insect pressure that you normally do. Now, there are some exceptions to that, because I will tell you, right here in my garden, I've tried zucchini, and I have a tough time growing zucchini and squash because of squash vine borers. They are prolific here. If I give them a foothold, they will be everywhere. So instead, I grow loofah. And don't get me started on loofah. Last year, there was a lot of videos. In fact, I'll link in the description below to the loofah playlist. And the best one, I think, is the mistakes I made. There's 7 mistakes I made, and what I'm doing to fix it this year. Loofah is extremely invasive. In fact, they were planted just right over here next to these 2 posts. And they went everywhere, but we're going to do it a little bit differently here because I'm smarter this year. Yeah, really, I am. I'm a whole lot smarter. But in the meantime, I'm pulling the weeds, just kind of keeping them in control. You'll notice I'm not pulling them all. There's still some down there, and I'm going to let them grow. Now, exciting news here. Get ready for this. What's over here? Those of you who watch me regularly know what this plant is. This is my Jasmine. And I'm very excited because this is the plant that we planted next to the big tree. And you can see, look at the new growth. Look at the new growth all over it. In fact, are we going to get flowers? I believe we are, which yes, we are going to get flowers. But anyway, we planted it next to this big tree, which is what the loofah grew up. And much to my amazement, this tree this vine survived underneath the loofah and continued to grow. And it only went up to about here before the loofah took over this trunk and completely covered it. Here's a little video of what it looked like when it was completely covered. But yeah, this jasmine continued to grow. We're going to come around here on the sunny side because I want to show you the growth that happened underneath the loofah, and you can really begin to see there's multiple vines growing up this, and everywhere there are brand new shoots coming out of that vine. I mean every 6 inches everywhere. And look, here's another big old band of vines coming around from the other direction. So this thing is going to be covered, I hope by next year this thing will be covered in jasmine. And that's what is also over in my neighbor's arbor right there. That's jasmine. There's a lot of jasmine over there. But whoop, ha! This is going to be my jasmine trellis, is this tree, and I'm very, very excited about that. So I'm stepping over here, just the other side of the path. Here you can see one of my raised beds here, which again, we'll be covering those raised beds and all the magic going in there in the raised bed garden tour that'll be coming out pretty soon. But I just wanted to point out, now there are some things like this. This is some kind of spiny milk thistle of some sort. I'm not exactly sure, but I actually mowed the grass right up to here so I could catch this and pull it out by the roots. Now it looks pretty dangerous. Some of these, now there's a few different ones, but some of these, there actually are no thistles right down at the ground level. And so you can kind of pull up at the base. And yes, it's kind of getting me a little bit, but I don't want to encourage this kind of thing to grow in my garden that much, and so I will pull it up by the roots. And you can see there's a taproot. Look at that. See that big old taproot? I got the whole thing up, so I am happy about that. These things they kind of hurt, and I'm not sure I want to keep those around. Ow! Yeah, see? And so yeah, I try to keep these things at bay a little bit, but there are places where they can grow. I can let this type of thing go in the meadow area, which of course is over by the bee box. Not today though, not here. So as we come past the big oak trunk, which measures 17 foot tall and about 11 feet around, wow, it's a big old tree. It was a big old tree that we had taken down because it is damaged, it was sick, and it was going to fall down anyway. But if you follow along with all our garden tours, which this is marking the end of year 3, here's the old wood pile, and you'll notice about half of it's missing, and I'm very excited that it is. Oh my word, we have our woodpecker back. Looky there. Oh, let's just watch that for a minute. I love seeing that. That is just so cool. Okay, yes, I got a lot of this wood out of here. A lot of the stuff on the bottom is not great. I do still have a lot of good, and these big pieces are still good, and the big ones that are sitting on the ground, if I split those, there's a lot of good wood in there, but I don't need them for this year. Have to see what I can do for it. But here we go, folks. Now, we were talking about that sheet mulching with the plastic. Not the greatest. Okay, Des, I admit it. It is not the greatest. It's what I'm doing over there, and for a reason, because it's a large area and I don't want anything growing underneath those trees. I'm a little bit, I don't know, maybe I'm not being nice about it. Anyway, we come over here and you can see we are getting ready to start some sheet mulching of another type here. Now, folks, I want to tell you, these big 8-foot sheets of double-walled corrugated cardboard, if you have a Lowe's near you, go back to the shipping department and look right next to their box compactor and see if they have a lot of these sitting out there. You want to be friends with one of the people that runs the shipping department back there, and just meet people and tell them what you're looking for. Tell them, I would like some big pieces of cardboard for my garden to do environmentally friendly and environmentally safe sheet mulching, so I can kill off an area, put compost on top, and then have a new bed. And this is how it's done, folks. I just put these cardboard down 2 days ago. I put the little bit of compost, it was like the end of my load. I put the end of my load here, just over here, enough to weigh it down some. And in fact, you'll notice I didn't even have enough to put on this last sheet over here. we'll have more. We're going to get another load, and this whole bed will be covered about 6 inches in what we get is horse bedding compost. Very excited about that because this is going to be partially corn patch, partially, what's the rest of it? It's, oh, pumpkin pie patch. Pumpkin pie pumpkins patch. I have the seeds already, and I will go all the way to this wood pile if I don't get the wood pile done. I need another sheet of cardboard though. So that's another very successful method of sheet mulching that I've used for years. The great thing about the cardboard, oh, it's terrible, people say. Oh, in fact, you can see I finally cut down the little lemon tree that was here. Cut the stump down below ground, got it all ready to go. But, oh, don't pollute, don't trash the ground. And I want to show you something. You know, this has been here 2 days. That's all this has been here. And I want to show you just 2 days of this double, in fact, let me just show you. This is a double-walled, I have to show you on this end. You can see it is a double-walled corrugated board. It's very heavy. And if you can get the double, it just makes it a little better. Let me just show you something here real quick. Already, this stuff is getting so thin. In 2 days, people, in 2 days, this stuff is so thin, I just poked my finger through there. That's how easy it is to plant in this. Now I'm going to cover that up because I don't want any weeds growing up, and I guarantee just because I did that, there's going to be a weed growing up right there. So I will keep an eye on that because it's over here on this first corner of this bed. But, folks, 2 days, that's all it was. And it got irrigated once and it got rained on briefly overnight. I don't think we even got a 1/4 inch of rain. But that's how fast this breaks down. The worms, yes, folks, worms are beneficial. We all know that. The worms love this stuff. They will eat it. They will make beds in the corrugations. They will sleep in the corrugations of the cardboard. The cardboard does not hurt them because it is natural fiber. This kind of stuff right here is not made of chemicals. It's not made of processed stuff. It is made of raw, ground up tree products. And they make the corrugated out of it, and it is all natural. Now there is a little bit of glue in there, and it is so minimal, trust me. I use neem oil very rarely, and the neem oil, there's more dangerous neem oil out here, and I say dangerous, I know there's a place for it because I do use it, but there's more danger from the neem oil that I use about once every 2 or 3 years than the amount of glue that's in these things. Now the great thing about these, there's no ink. Trust me, people. If you get a old refrigerator box with the ink on it, the ink is the least of your worries. The ink is no worry. The thing that you have to be careful of is 2 things, tape and staples. That clear cellophane tape, you've got to get all that off of there. That's more plastics that you can be putting into the environment. And the staples, oh, just don't get those in your feet because they hurt. Yeah, someone knows. Anyway, so this is what we're going to be talking about in the even more in the raised garden bed tour. In fact, here's a little look at something that's coming up in the raised garden bed tour. This bed, anybody know what this bed is? Tell me in the comments below. Are you sheet mulching? Are you plastic mulching? Are you cardboard mulching? Are you just putting down comfrey leaves to kill? What are you doing to do something like this? Or have you done? Have you had success with it? There are appropriate places. There are inappropriate places for this kind of thing. And it really depends on situations. And you got to kind of analyze what you're doing. So yes, this bed is getting ready to be ready to go. And we come up here, there's the lemon trees back here in the corner. More lemon trees, yep. Now these lemon trees were planted from seed by the previous owner of our house. And look at the spines, the thorns on these things. Yes, lemon trees have massive, massive thorns in there. They're a little scary. So, yeah, this one, these are the 2 that we trimmed. This one here is one, and that one over there is the other one. This one still has a little bit of brown on the stem. I may end up having to cut it somewhere in here to see if I can save it, but there is no more brown anywhere down low. Same thing on this one. This one's looking good, which means from here on out, when we're going to have a freeze, I will be wrapping these. Hold me to my promise. Remind me when that happens next fall, because it's going to get cold and I want to have lemon trees. Now that thing right there, that's a 3rd lemon tree over there that's looking, oh my goodness, look how beautiful it looks. Wow, I don't see any dead spots on here. I do need to top this thing to try to get it to bush out better, but that is an in-ground lemon tree, and that is just nothing short of exciting. Oh, I'm gonna have to care for that this year. Hadn't really done much with it. And of course behind it, more of our pomegranates. And I'm so pleased with the pomegranates because I did come in here and I trimmed back a lot of the suckers that were down here. You can see that on the outer garden bed tour from last month. They look great. They're starting to shoot up now. I can see, oops, see, now I missed one. I got one right here that I'm gonna have to come and take out, but that's not much. You don't really have to do it. You can do that when you're doing your printing for the next year. But yeah, these pomegranates are getting ready to start flowering. I love the flowers on these. Stick around, subscribe so you don't miss. Most of my trees are in this outer garden bed tour. Now we don't get a look down here at the base of my rosemary plant very often. You can see it is a very old rosemary plant. It has grown through the bottom of this pot. I really should come in here and just cut that pot out of there and let this rosemary breathe free. But we will be taking, in fact, this will be another video coming out here pretty soon. We will be taking cuttings from these and we will be making a lot more rosemary plants from this. This is actually the plant that came with our house 3.5 years ago. And it was planted by the previous owner. He pulled rosemary off of it for years. And we can get as many plants as we want to off of something like this. In fact, the two in the front yard came from this tree, and this bush, this rosemary plant, and it is just, it's amazing because we can have, I'm hoping to get, I don't know, maybe 50 plants off of this in the front and the two other plants out front. But yeah, oh, and the smell, what you do is you just gently rub your fingers over that and smell that. Oh, that is just amazing stuff. And so, of course, down here we have some more of that comfrey. This is the only place that comfrey survived in our property after we moved in here. I was killing it off, not realizing what it was before. Fortunately, I realized before it was totally gone what it was, and I saved these. But we're over here in the south pot garden. We're coming close to the end of the garden tour, and we have a lot of, is this Biden's alba in here? Let me just check real quick. Okay, folks, this is Florida Betany. And it is what I was showing you in the front and side garden tour. And this thing grows tubers down in the bottom. And I'm going to try to dig up a couple because these things are fascinating. Now, these are a lot bigger than those little things we had out front. But they do need to come out. There is an aloe under here. So, folks, this Florida Betany. And by the way, I am using an app called PlantNet. It is a free app that you can use to identify plants around you. It's been doing really good for me for many years. I'm not sponsored or anything. I just like using their app. But this Florida Betany, this stuff right here, is the one that has the root tubers on it. And I kind of discovered this just before that front and side garden tour. Now this root tuber looks different than the one we found in the front and side garden. Go back and look at that right after we did the trimming on the pomegranate tree near the beginning of the video to see more about this. But these have a, well, I'm going to put across the bottom here what it was. Has a pleasing crunch to them, very tender, very tasty, very mild. But Mrs. Bowtie said it would be good on a salad too. And I've enjoyed eating these. I'm going to take these in and clean these. And we got several roots here out of that pot around the aloe right here. So anyway, yeah, lots of Florida Betany here. And a lot more to pull up if I want to. So you can see here though, I've kind of exposed these aloe plants. There's 3 aloe plants. I think there's one more buried in here. Maybe not. Yeah, just the 3. Okay, so and I'll put some more soil in there so that those will thrive a little better. We're coming over here. This is the lemon tree that was buried by grass most of last year. I believe that the grass may have protected it during the snow. This is one of the grasses, but this is the one that we have to, this is the Dietes Bicolor that we have to get taken care of. I've promised to get that taken care of for, I don't know, 2-3 years. And yeah, there's another lemon tree down over in the ground right here that you can see the stump of right there, but this is growing out of it. And I'm going to try to get this thing to produce again. I don't know if I can. I'm just learning this stuff, folks. You get to walk right along with me and learn all this stuff. Coming around here. Now this is that thing that I got I did a short on this. It was the grass that I got. It was dead, and it had been in there, I think, for about 2 years. And it was in an abandoned lot, and I discovered that there was some green. Now this thing here has grown a lot. Whoop, this thing here has grown a lot since we first did this. That one back there has developed. This one right here is brand new. So this thing is going to come back. I have no idea what it is. So we are going to find out together if you follow along. If you know what this is, let me know. I will be putting this through my PlantNet app eventually. But that's kind of exciting. We have our Spearimint right here, and we are going to be doing some work on mint here. Chad, he kind of dissed the mint, and I facetiously took offense at it. He said, "Oh no, not mint. You got to know how to do it. You got to know how to do it." And I want to show you how to do mint and why it is important in the garden, because folks, mint can be your best friend. Trust me. So yes, we still have this aloe here is the one that blooms red later in the year. It's beautiful. And we have what do we have here? 6, 7 Loquat trees left. If anybody wants one. We had 10 here at one point. But then we're going to come down here to the end, and I just want to show you a little bit about our compost. We've talked about this at the end of most of our outer garden bed tours. There's a lizard crawling away right there. We have lizards all over. I love them. They are very important in the garden. They help keep the bugs down, so they are welcome here. The interesting thing is, here's my active compost over here. It doesn't look that great on top at the moment because we threw a lot of old loofah in there, but I'll pull back the stuff to expose the soil, and 3 or 4 lizards will come stand on this wall. They'll crawl up and look in, and when they see a beetle, one of the little gray beetles or something that they like, they will literally jump in and get them immediately. This guy, he's old enough, he probably remembers those days. So this is last year's compost, and you can see it is still, it's got a lot of moisture in there. I can feel it. It has been dug into by our possum or our raccoon, I'm not sure, but they seem to have stopped digging into it, and I really haven't done anything because I didn't have anything to do with it. So now, folks, we are going to be using this in the raised bed, which is another reason to be sure to subscribe. Don't miss the Raised Garden Bed tour. We're going to talk about how to use this stuff. You can actually see there's sand up in here. There's soil. There's broken down organic material on massive scales. There's a whole yard here that I can spread. A yard that's a 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet. It's a cube. That's 1 yard cube of compost that's ready to go in the garden. This is my lazy hot compost. Yes, I said lazy hot compost, Will. And it did get hot, and I just keep adding to it, and it's hot, stays hot in the top zone, but it really has to be big enough. It's 4 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot bin, and I keep this thing pretty full. But I wanted to show you what I keep in here. And like, yes, I put loofah in here. Yes, there are sticks in here. There were layers of sticks in this old compost here that are completely gone because they have decayed. These sticks will be gone by next spring when I will be using this. That's spring of 2026. We also put all our kitchen scraps in here. We have this compost bin where you'll see eggs, you'll see avocado peels, you'll see banana peels, our coffee filter, that's biodegradable. And all that we're just going, yeah, you know what? There's avocado seeds in there as well. That's okay because those seeds are going to be food also for whatever's going to eat it in here. And folks, don't get disgusted at the good bugs that you see in here. Right now, I can see gnats flying all over. If I dig down much, you will see worms, and you'll see, I don't know, earwigs and centipedes and all kinds of great stuff in here, eating this up, breaking it down. Now, never leave this uncovered like this. Never, 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 never. There's actually supposed to be a pitchfork right here that I normally use to bury that, but I wanted to show you real quick the other thing that I put in here, which is grass cuttings. Now, in preparation for today's garden tour, yes, I did pull out the mower, and I got a bag of lawn clippings here, which I'm very excited about because those will go on top of those kitchen scraps that I just put in the compost. Never, okay, I said this once already, I'm going to say it again, people, never leave things like banana peels and kitchen scraps uncovered like this. What I normally do is I'll stick the fork in, make a hole, drop it in there, and bury it back over. As long as it's buried, I don't know, 6 inches, you're always good. I've never had raccoons or anything, rats or anything, digging in my active compost. I've been doing this is year 4 now. They don't dig in here. And all I do, folks, is I just come in here and I will put my lawn clippings right on top of it. Now this thing will be full. I will fill this up several times during the year. It'll fill up, and in about a week's time, it'll go back down again because it's breaking down. And it'll do that endlessly, endlessly, endlessly. Fill, empty, fill. In fact, these loofah were about 6 inches higher when I just first put them in here. But that's covered now. That's good. No rats, no raccoons, no possum. We have all of them. In fact, I just scared one out from underneath our solar panels just yesterday. This was yesterday. I was out there pushing a squeegee underneath there to get out the leaves, and a raccoon pops out from underneath my solar panel. We are taking measures. We'll have that fixed here pretty soon. But that's what I'm doing with my compost. That compost, the old stuff over there, is what's going into the bed here this week, and I am very excited. Watch for the video where we're going to be planting something in the raised beds. We're going to be planting the corn patch, the pumpkin patch, and so on and so forth. So folks, we talked about how the garden's awakening from winter's slumber. We've talked about the spring's first blooms and why they're important. The symphony of green that we have, the buzz of activity. Oh, the bees, it's so exciting to see them back. And we actually have several kinds of bees here. And of course, March garden tasks, planning for that abundance. And I'm just thrilled that we're at this point in the garden and we can start doing some useful stuff and looking at production here pretty soon. I've already said it a couple of times. Be sure to subscribe and don't miss the outer garden bed tour coming right up, because we're going to be putting plants in the ground, and some of you know what we got coming that's going to be put in this one of these first beds, the very first beds. So I'm very excited about that. If you know what it is, what I just showed a video of, just tell me in the comments below. Tell me what you're planting. I know a lot of you got excited and you put stuff out and it got cold again. You've got to cultivate that patience, folks. It's hard. It takes patience. It just takes patience. Wait till it's ready, because things will take off and be exciting once again. It thrills me to no end. So if you like this video, please be sure to click the thumbs up on it. Comment below. I love when y'all share your experiences, when you ask questions. I learn from even your questions, because people ask a question, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, and I'll go look that up and I'll put it together with other stuff I know, and we come up with a good answer. I love questions. So be sure to ask questions, share your experiences as far as what's going on in your garden. Your spring, are you warming up yet? We are 75 degrees today, folks. That's 23 degrees Celsius, I think. And it's been a beautiful day. You saw how blue the sky is. It's blue, it's beautiful. Little wispy clouds up there in the distance. So the wind has blown my outline off of my tripod, which probably means I need to get this thing done. Again, I consider myself a beginner gardener, still learning, and you are just so welcome to join me along in these front and side and other garden tours that we have. We also put out other videos that cover, I hope, very basic things, because my big goal, people, I really want to help the new gardener just plant something. Just get something in dirt. It doesn't have to be in the ground. Maybe you don't even own a house. Maybe you're in an apartment with a little tiny patio of some kind. You can plant some of your own food, and it's very gratifying when you can grow your own and taste that first piece of whatever you want to plant, and plant something you like, because it will taste different, especially if you've never had it grown out of your own garden. The flavors are just amazing. Go get seeds from your local big box if you want to, or you can order from so many great seed companies: Sarah's Seed Shop, Jera's Garden, MI Gardener, Johnny's, even at Baker Creek, Seeds and Such, San Diego Seed Company. There's so many great companies out there that you can order good quality seeds from. and put seed in dirt just to see if it will grow. And we just had a couple of videos on exactly that, about not planting it too deep and what kind of soil to put it in and how to keep it moist and a bunch of other things. So be sure and look back on our channel for some of those other videos. And I will see if I can link some of that in the description below. All the links for all the stuff I've been talking about, I do include in the index in the description below. You'll see an index with a whole bunch of timestamps that describes the various things I talked about. And there will be links in each of those sections of places to go, videos to look at, other things to learn more, because that's really what this is all about, to learn more. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone who has subscribed and helped grow Bowtie Life to what it is today. Y'all have a blessed day.